Hi y'all, welcome to Petite Weaver Crafts episode 8. I'm recording here today from Los Angeles on July 18th, 2016. Thank you so much for joining me today, you guys. This is a video podcast about knitting, spinning, weaving, and kind of all the crafty things that I get myself into. If you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back. And if you're a new viewer, thank you so much for coming by and checking me out. I know there's a lot of other video podcasts you guys could be watching, and I really appreciate you taking the time to watch mine. So today I have a finished object, quite a few whips, a little bit of spinning, and Pokemon Go is still kind of taking over my life. I'm actually going to a meetup with a bunch of friends after I finish recording. We're going to spend a day at a park, get some sunshine, hang out, eat some good food, and catch lots of Pokemon. So let's get started. So I actually have a finished object this week, you guys. So I finally bound off my Talisman shawl by Helen Stewart. It is a crescent-shaped shawl with a little bit of textured detail, as well as a lovely picot bind-off. This was actually my first picot bind-off that I ever did, and oh my goodness, I love the way it turned out. I definitely think there will be more picot bind-offs in my future. And this pattern is part of Helen Stewart's Shawl Society. This was her first shawl. And I knit the large size, which is about 800 yards or 2 skeins. And the yarn that I use is Knit Picks Hawthorn base in the Parkrose colorway. And yeah, it's a lovely, very large shawl. Yeah, I think this would be a great present for my mom. She lives in Texas and she does get cold pretty easily. So yeah, that's one item off the list, right? Getting started early this year, because I always kind of wait until the very last minute and then freak out because I can't quite finish all the things that I wanted to get done. So I've been trying to stagger them in a little bit earlier this year. And yeah, July is probably about a great time to start thinking about Christmas knitting if you want to do Christmas knitting. Yeah, I love the way it turned out. And as I mentioned last week, Helen Stewart did release another pattern for her Shawl Society, but it's a triangle shawl, and I don't really like triangle shawls. I don't really like knitting triangle shawls, so I probably won't be doing that one. So moving on to works in progress. So I finally dug out a couple more of my whips that I've been ignoring a little bit. So first up is my Star Shower Cowl. So here it is so far, and this cowl is knit like a crescent-shaped shawl at the beginning. You can kind of see that shaping, and then it gets joined in around and then knit in a circle. And this is knit with my One Twisted Tree PALKAL mini set. And the PALKAL is the podcaster along Knit Along, and it's hosted by Michelle of the Actually Knitting podcast. And pretty much the idea is to support your podcasters by using their yarn, their patterns, project bags, etc. But yeah, I'm loving the way this cowl is turning out. The texture detail on it is just gorgeous, and it's fairly easy to memorize. It's only a 4-stitch repeat, and you go all the way around. So yeah, lovely. So I'm on the 3rd color, and the PALKAL mini set has 5. So here's the rest of the ball. I have a little bit more of this lighter teal, then the dark teal, and then the gray. And this is dyed up by Danny of One Twisted Tree, and she's part of the Prairie Girls Knit and Spin podcast. So next up is a project that I haven't showed you guys in a few weeks because I haven't been working on it. But this is my Meridien cardigan, and the pattern is by Locatelli. And it has this lovely cabling and kind of 2x2 garter detailing, as well as some seed stitch down at the bottom here. It's actually knit very interestingly. You knit the bottom skirt part of the cardigan going across the body, and then you pick up from the top edge, you knit the back and then your sleeves. So I have about a 6-inch piece, and for my size, this needs to be 40 inches. So I still have quite a ways to go, but I love the way this is looking so far. And I'm knitting this up with Forbidden Woolery's Pride Lace in the Archangel colorway. And it's just kind of a neutral color with a tiny bit of pops of color and stellina in it. And yeah, you can kind of see it a little bit better here. It reminds me of sand, because it's mostly the beige tan color with a little bit of pinks and a tiny bit of gold and yellows and such in there. Yeah, it's a lovely, lovely yarn. Um, but yeah, just working on it a little bit at a time. Up next is a pair of neon socks. So these are knit with my Duren Dyeworks yarn that I picked up at Vogue Knitting Live. There wasn't a colorway name, but it's this lovely, super bright, fluorescent rainbow-y color. And yes, I am just knitting a plain vanilla sock. These will be shorty socks, just because I wear shorty socks more often than I would wear a higher sock. So I'm hoping to get a couple of pairs out of this skein of yarn. So I knit these 2 at a time, magic loop, and I use a 56 stitch count. I'm planning on putting a fish lips kiss heel in this pattern, and I am using Addy sock rockets in a size 00. Here's my progress so far on my little foot template. And I made this template using the Fish Lips Kiss Heel pattern by Sock Therapist. She kind of describes how to go about making your own foot template and where you should insert the heel. In my case, here's the little line. Yeah, and I'm about halfway up the foot now. Alrighty, last but not least is my Cozy Memories blanket, as always. So I left you guys on this sky blue colored block here last week. And I finished off the row. This lovely square right here is by Yarn Inc. This was a mini skein that I got from her. She's a Canadian indie dyer, and the colorway name is Cold as Ice. So yeah, now I am 6 rows by 12 rows. So it's nice and squared off now. I think I'm going to put this down for a little bit and focus a little bit more on the other whips that I have going. But I still love this project, and I think it's going to be amazing for the winter. But it's getting a little bit warm. It's kind of hard to have it on my lap as I'm working since it is getting so big. So yeah, it might be a little while until you guys see this blanket again. Alrighty, on to spinning. So I showed you guys some bobbins that I had finished last week. So I ended up plying those bobbins, and here is the result. 2 gorgeous skeins of chain plied, and it's approximately a fingering weight hand spun, and they're mostly matching but not quite, and I have about 400 yards total. It's a little bit more than that on one of the skeins. But yeah, isn't it gorgeous? So this was fiber dyed by Bee Mice Elf in the Bikini Ombre Gradient, and the fiber was a BFL. And it's 4 ounces, and like I mentioned last week, I ended up splitting the braid in half, just lengthwise, and then spinning each half on 2 different bobbins, and then I chain plied them. But yeah, I'm still trying to decide whether or not I want another pair of knee-high socks or maybe some leg warmers. I'm not quite sure yet, but oh my goodness, these colors. Yeah, someone on the Be Mice Elf board said that it looks like toffee or ice cream, and I can't agree more. I love, 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 love Be Mice Elf fiber, and as always, her fiber turned out gorgeous, and there was very little to almost no color bleed when I wash these skeins. Yeah, she's just a wonderful dyer, and you guys should definitely check her out if you haven't tried her fiber before. But yeah, that's it for my spinning this week. I honestly don't know how much more spinning I will get to for the end of Tour de Fleece. I'm starting a new job on Monday, and I'm actually going out of town for work. And then I come back for a day, and then I'm leaving for the San Diego Comic-Con, which segues into sewing. So every year for the last 4 years or so, I go to the San Diego Comic-Con, and I think it's one of the largest comic book conventions in the US, and it's hosted in San Diego. And it's a 4 day, like 4 day long pop culture, TV show, movie, comic book convention. Yeah, it's one of those things where, you know, you're surrounded by people who are just as crazy and like passionate about nerdy things as you are. And in my case, I love binge watching TV. I watch a ridiculous amount of Netflix and Hulu. Um, Mostly when I'm crafting, so it's productive, right? So recently I got caught up with Elementary. It's a Sherlock Holmes like retelling in modern New York with Lucy Liu and I can't remember the main guy's name. But yeah, it's really, really good. It's fun. I love procedural type TV shows, and I don't mind like kind of the little bit more crime shows. But yeah, it was really good. I'm catching up on The Last Ship now, which is a contagion like virus outbreak type TV show. Yeah, I'm very, very excited for Comic-Con, and I actually made this lovely new dress. So the fabric I got from a local independent fabric shop here in LA called Fabric Planet. And the dress pattern that I use is called the Davie dress by Sewaholic Patterns. It was a super fun project. It has these lovely princess seams, which were surprisingly easy to do. You just do a basic zigzag stitch on the seams, and then you actually go back and do another top stitch on it. And yeah, I think the dress really fits well. I did a size 4, I believe. And the only modifications I would do is I have a slightly shorter torso than what's standard since I am so petite. So I would actually shorten where the waist hits because the panels are actually one long panel. It goes from your shoulder all the way down to the hemline. So where it's not a really big deal on this dress, but the next time I make it, I will probably bring up the waist a little bit. I don't always make muslins of my sewing patterns before I go out and make them, mostly because I'm lazy. This fabric in particular isn't super expensive, and it's not precious. I wasn't going to cry if it turned out awful. But if you're using a really nice fabric or something, I would recommend doing a practice pattern before using up your nicer fabric. Alrighty, I think that's it for me this week. As I mentioned, I will be doing a lot of traveling, so I will have plenty of knitting time. So hopefully I'll have a lot more to show you guys next week. Alrighty, I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks for watching. Bye!